Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be sharing my current #1 favorite fragrance, something that I have dubbed the best women's fragrance of all time. And yes, I know that is incredibly dramatic. And I'm fully aware that my personal preferences will change over time. I'll be introduced to new fragrances, there will be new launches, things that I haven't tried before, and I might just completely change my mind. I mean, that's what happens, right? Over time, there are so many X factors to consider when choosing the right fragrance for you. A good fragrance will almost always smell nice, but a great fragrance is something that stops you in your tracks and takes over your mind, body, and spirit. It evokes a mood, an emotion the first time you smell it. That is the stuff of a signature scent, a personal fragrance. And it doesn't even have to be something that's widely beloved by many or incredibly popular. Sometimes it's just right for you. And that's the way I feel, and the only way I can describe this fragrance. This is the Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the eau de parfum. I know there is an extrait version. This fragrance is something that just wows me. It overpowers me. It just pulls me in. It's the only way I can really describe how much I love this scent. And it wasn't something that I really set out to purchase right away because I own so many fragrances already. I just didn't really want to justify spending the money because it is very pricey. And then Neiman Marcus had one of their promotions. I think it was like a $50 off of $250, etc. type of deal. And that was the tipping point. So for me, I said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and purchase this fragrance because of all of the scents that I own, and I'm looking over here at my little tray, and there are so many fragrances that I have an attachment to or a memory, or they're special to me for some other reason. None of them have ever made me feel so strongly as this. So it arrived a couple weeks ago. It's been sitting in the corner waiting for this video. I wanted to unbox it together. It's not a first impressions because I've smelled this fragrance, completely fallen head over heels for it, but I figured we could see exactly what's in this box together. So this is it. This is the exterior packaging that was wrapped in cellophane, and once you remove that, you get the beautiful hard case box, which is a little bit more substantial. Inside, I love how they kept the fragrance inside this little cubby hole that has a metallic background, and then you do get a little pamphlet with information. So nice little details. I think the packaging itself is really beautiful. And then the fragrance honestly looks like a crystal. It looks like a ruby jewel. I love the size, how it's a little bit more of a cube than a traditional rectangle. I mean, it's stunning. It truly is so beautiful. So this is a 2.4 ounce bottle or 70 milliliters, and this retails for $300. Because of the little deal, I got it for $250, but still it is an incredibly expensive fragrance. The cap also has a little symbol in there, symbol on the top. Oh my gosh, it's so nice. And then I love this little detail here on the back. Whenever you look through the juice, you can see there's a little chandelier. So attention to every detail. I mean, this crystal is stunning. Okay, I'm gonna spray it. Oh my gosh. Is this not the most ridiculous thing? I can smell it coming through and I don't even want to spray it. I just could just live here. It's beautiful. Okay, here we go. It is the most dreamy fragrance. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so excited. I know it's crazy expensive, but I am so happy that I finally own this. It's so decadent and opulent, and it's sexy and strong and just beautiful. It's unlike anything else that I have ever smelled in my entire life. I remember the first time I smelled this fragrance. This is a true story. I was working with a bunch of freelancers, and it was a big event, and one of the ladies had this fragrance on, and I caught a whiff. I smelled her, and I asked her what she was wearing, and she said, "Oh, it's Baccarat," just like as if, hello, everybody knows this fragrance, and I had never been exposed to it before. This is not something that's carried at Nordstrom, and I tend to have my blinders on, so if it's something that's carried outside of Nordstrom, I don't always really pay attention to it. And I thought, "You smell so amazing," and I kid you not, it was all I could do to stop like trying to whiff her fragrance. I was getting probably uncomfortably close to this woman while she was trying to work and do makeup. And I mean, it's close quarters, and you know, when you're in the trenches with a group of makeup artists for an event, you're always kind of close to one another. But I was so intoxicated by her fragrance. Once you smell this scent, you don't want to smell fresh air. It's just, you don't want to smell anything other than the fragrance. It's so beautiful. So that was my the first time that I knew what the fragrance was. I'm sure I've smelled this on other people and perhaps in passing, but I didn't have the opportunity to stop that person. And several times after that, I would smell the fragrance, and it was almost like instantly committed to memory, where if somebody else was wearing this fragrance, I knew. And now I had the name, so I could say, "Are you wearing Baccarat?" And people will say, "Yes." "Why, yes, I am wearing Baccarat. How did you know?" And it's because there's just something about this fragrance that I connect with on such another level. Like, no other fragrance makes me feel this way. Now, if you've never smelled this fragrance, let me go through the notes. So this is an oriental floral fragrance, similar to Coco Mademoiselle. Coco, also Allure, is an oriental fragrance. The top notes are jasmine and saffron. The middle notes are amberwood and ambergris. And the base is fir resin and cedar. I always say in these videos, I lean towards light floral, white flower type fragrances. And all of my favorite fragrances, other than this one, that's the common denominator. So I think that's a good way to judge whether or not you're gonna like a fragrance is, does it have something that's similar to something that you know you love? It's also a great tip for purchasing a fragrance for someone else. If you know the fragrances that they lean towards, you can sort of choose something that's maybe different but still falls in the same family. But with Baccarat, there really are no other notes that are notes that I am generally drawn towards, so it sort of threw me, but there is something about this combination, and I think that's really the artistry behind a great nose and a great perfumer, is taking things that maybe aren't extraordinary or out of the norm, but creating a fragrance that is so different, so seductive. This fragrance launched in 2015, so it has been around for a few years. I'm somewhat late to the party, but in that time, it's drawn quite a following. It is truly beloved by the people who own and appreciate this fragrance. Definition-wise, it really can't be considered to be a classic fragrance just yet, but I believe that it is well on its way to be considering one of the best fragrances of all time. It's just that beautiful. I love the attention to every detail, from the packaging. The juice itself is magic, but the bottle is weighted, so it feels luxurious and opulent. I don't even really notice that it's a 2.4 ounce bottle versus a traditional 3.4 ounce bottle. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. The moment I first sprayed the scent, I just sort of forget about the price, and I'm just enchanted with it all over again. And I think that's really the beauty and the magic of a very powerful fragrance. And that's how I would describe this: powerful. Not even necessarily in how strong and potent it is, but just the scent itself is so luxurious and feminine and strong. This to me is a CEO fragrance. It's like Beyonce in a bottle. It's just like feminine and strong and powerful, and definitely evening, date night, special occasion, but on the right woman, this could be a signature scent, a daytime fragrance as well. I think you have to have the right mood and mindset. This fragrance is not for the meek or somebody looking for something light and dainty. The first time I ever wore this fragrance, it was to an event a friend was hosting at one of the shops at Bal Harbour, and it was a fancy event. I sort of ran through the Neiman Marcus, and on my way, I just sort of spritzed on this fragrance. And I got so many compliments. So many people stopped and said, "You smell so amazing." And I felt more confident. I felt more elevated wearing this fragrance and hearing all the compliments. And I had sprayed it in my hair and a little bit on the jacket I was wearing. And that jacket maintained this fragrance for days after. So I know I read online several reviews, and some people said that they felt like it didn't last very long, which sort of blew my mind because I find this to be one of the most long-wearing fragrances I've ever experienced. It's definitely the most long-wearing fragrance I own. It lasted literally days. I would smell that jacket and think, wow, I cannot believe the scent is still there. The next morning, my hair, I could still smell it. And I think that's also, again, it's part of the magic of this fragrance and part of something that really makes up a signature scent. I am hoping that over time, this will become my fragrance, my personal scent. The scent that I spray the most now, which is probably my signature scent just by default, is Gucci Bloom. This is the one that I have been spraying most often, so I imagine that when people smell this fragrance, or the people closest to me who spend the most time with me, they sort of recognize this as being my signature scent. But now that I have opened the bottle, I've cracked open Pandora's box, and I am just all in down the rabbit hole with Baccarat, this is going to be my signature fragrance. It truly is the best fragrance of all time currently. Again, I know that could change. With that, I did receive a little gift whenever I ordered the fragrance. It came with a little deluxe sample of Gentle Fluidity, which is another newer fragrance from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I believe there's a gold and a silver, and you got to choose one option at checkout. I chose gold. I usually wear gold accessories, and I'm just always drawn to warmth and gold versus silver. And I've sprayed this several times, and it is very soft, very beautiful. There's something a little bit sweet, slightly gourmand about this fragrance. I've been wearing this a lot and I do love it, but when I compare to Baccarat, there's just no comparison with any other fragrance. It's so nice. So this is something that is worth checking out if you're a fragrance lover and you like to know what's new. I was really impressed with this, so I'll keep this for travel probably. And I have the worst luck when traveling with fragrance. I always drop fragrances, and I've killed so many fragrances, so this is something that I will leave on my little vanity and carry around with a little soft pillow if I ever do move it, because I want to make sure that nothing bad happens to it. In case you haven't noticed, I absolutely love fragrance. I am such a fragrance nerd. I research the notes and I want to know who the perfumer is. I just love fragrance. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and liked hearing my thoughts on Baccarat and why I think it is the #1 best women's fragrance of all time. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this fragrance, if you've smelled it before. Also, please let me know what your current favorite fragrances. If you have a signature scent, drop me a comment so we can keep the conversation going there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me any of your comments or questions down below. Of course, I will be linking all of the makeup products that I used today on my face down in the description box along with the fragrance, so you can check that out there. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe.